I would like to first thank you for the opportunity you've given me to provide a presentation covering some of what I've done during this past semester during my internship and also what I learned during my time with the chosen company. My name is Jonathan Beshears, and I interned with Alliance Source Testing this fall semester of 2012. Alliance Source Testing is located in central Arkansas and is headquartered out of Decatur, Alabama. They are primarily an air and emissions compliance company that performs work for clients to ensure they comply with the Environmental Protection Agency's standards of air pollution and also deals with water pollution as well. They also, in the past, have done a lot of the emergency management stuff that I've listed before, uh, such as the hazards analysis and worker exposure evaluations. That all changed as of this past January when the company got bought out by the now current owners. And they didn't see that as a profitable area of the business, and they've brought me aboard to help and see if that's something they can get back into and make it something where they can make money and also earn more clients and earn more jobs, therefore increase their revenue. Now, whenever I started to look for an internship, really had no idea what I was going to look for or where to look. Uh, all I knew was that I loved to travel and would like to be a big part of my career, either now or later on in my life. I've always had a good work ethic, I believe. I love to do things with my hands and just hands on. I found that a lot in source testing, kind of found it by accident. I was searching the web for internship one day and I searched for hazardous materials or something along those lines of the testing and handling of hazardous materials, and came across this company who just happened to be located in central Arkansas. I ended up calling the company up and speaking with Ryan, who now is my main supervisor during my internship, about what I was actually needing internship wise and what I could offer his company. We had several meetings, and I got offered an internship with the company for this ongoing fall semester. Uh, didn't happen quick. Was talking to him as of this past February, and had an interview with him. And had an interview a couple weeks later, and it wasn't until I think the end of the semester this past spring that I did get offered a internship for him during this fall. Now, during this, I was hoping that during my internship that I would gain some key skills that would help me later on in life. With those skills being the management and networking skills that I would need if I was to go into a business, or the networking skills that I would need in order to find a job where I know someone. A lot of times nowadays, the only way you're going to get a job is if you know somebody. And I found out that those are some skills that I really do need to help me on later in life and help me jumpstart me into my future career. Now, specifically, I hope to gain field experience with hazardous environments, learn more about hazardous materials, and also learn more about the data management and security that goes on into keeping confidential items between the EPA and various clients confidential. And also, one day, I would like to become the safety risk manager at a facility, uh, such as a chemical plant, something along those lines, and do an environmental background along with an EAM degree will help me into that particular field. Now at first, I dreaded doing the journals every day. I didn't really see the point of it. I was like, why can't we do this just every week? But after a week or so, I really began to enjoy them. It gave me a chance to see everything that I was accomplishing on a daily basis, and also what I needed to focus more on in the following weeks. And it just really helped me stay focused, kept my eye on the prize of graduating, and it just kind of like a daily countdown of I got this many days left, got this many hours left, and until I'm done with school. And so I think that was one thing I really liked about the journals. Now, the job, what I did, and what my title was, I worked in their source testing department, and I was their hazardous materials analyst intern. Um, there was about 5 other guys that were in that department at my current location, And so I was the intern, really just assisted them in what they were doing and helped them accomplish their daily task. Now, the scope of my responsibilities consisted of on-site field source analysis, what that was is we would collect sources of some of the hazardous chemicals and of hazardous gases, and then we would take those and using some of the technology they had in some of their mobile labs, would analyze that, and we were able to turn around and speak with the EPA and also the client and tell them what they were outputting, if it was harmful, and if it was harmful, to what extent. And I also helped with the research and development of Alliance Source Testing's possible re-entry into the field of hazardous environment preparedness. Like I said earlier, they used to be in that field as part of what they're doing now, but when they got bought out, didn't see it as a profitable area, so got brought in to assist them with that. And we have done several projects looking into that, and possibly I think in the next few months they could get into that field. Also helped with the evaluation of current clients and identifying their needs for additional services, such as the worker exposure evaluations, the toxic release inventory reporting, and the permitting and support of toxic dispersion modeling. Now, like I said earlier, I really like to travel, and going into this, I figured I'd just be in Arkansas and just traveling around Arkansas a lot. Well, that was far from what I thought. During the internship, I ended up traveling to Mississippi, went to Louisiana, been to Missouri, Michigan, Arizona, Alabama, and that's just to name a few. And I've been there, all those places, numerous times. Except for that, Michigan, Arizona were these last 2 weeks I've been there. Now, the types of sites that I visited in those states, natural gas was primarily the main one that we would visit on a normal basis, because of here in Arkansas, it has become a great source of income for companies, is producing natural gas, and Arkansas is abundant in that gas. So we worked with them, worked with chemical plants, mostly down in El Dorado, Arkansas, and something kind of cool or dangerous, I guess, about that was we're at a chemical plant down in El Dorado, Great Lakes Chemical Company, and that morning we're heading out to start compliance testing for the company, and another chemical company in town actually had an accident at their facility and had one of their chemicals blow up. I do not believe it killed anyone, but it really gets your mind going, especially in that field of work of, if we would have went and tested that, we could have found an issue, reported it, and possibly lives could be saved, or buildings and machinery could have been saved and cost the plant less money if there would have been better management of the facility. We also work at power plants, paper mills, and cotton producers, steel factories, and oil producers. When they frag for oil, go out there and test the chemicals that they're using, and test the ground, just test the air, and just make sure everything they're doing is not harming the environment and is not harming the surrounding community. Was at a facility that was up in northeast Arkansas, and they were trying to take diesel out of the ground that was used for fragging, and the cops ended up getting called because this company, the way they were running they weren't really smart about it, but they were blowing diesel into the air and it was going over people's houses, and we called it off and told them to stop, because it was a hazard, because at any point that diesel that they're shooting up into the air could catch fire by someone's fireplace, or a spark, anything could have sparked it, and you could have seen 100 acres go up in flames for what they were doing, and we shut them down. Now, some of the people I met during this internship met several of the Environmental Protection Agency personnel who would go out with us and ensure that we were working to their standards and giving them the correct data and not fudging numbers or anything to protect the company. Now, also, as you saw in my journals, a lot of the safety and risk management officials that were at these plants, the company I worked for, Alliance, would allow me to walk around with those guys, go to their office, talk with them, and seeing how that's a job that I want to get into, the safety and risk management at a facility. That was probably the best part of my internship. I really thought was every week meeting a new person, seeing what they liked most about the company, seeing their challenges, what they faced. I really liked that learning experience and getting firsthand knowledge of what my job would be like if I was to ever get into that field. I also met a lot of the plant managers that were at those facilities, and who knows, I become a plant manager one day. But it was really cool experience getting to meet all those people, be around all those types of facilities, something that you normally everyday life you wouldn't be around, and really just gained a lot of knowledge about the hazards that are around those facilities, the risk that they take to serve people on a day-to-day basis. Now at the end, did learn a lot of several EPA testing methods. And I understand that it doesn't really have too much to do with emergency management, but it does in a way. If you don't do testing, facilities can just become stagnant, not really fixing any issues that they have. Therefore, your communities around can end up becoming harmed by the chemicals they're outputting, and also the dangers of a facility actually exploding, such as the one that happened in El Dorado. Now, I was able to network with several different companies and agencies, which I do believe will help me jumpstart into my future career by knowing people, because in this day and age, the only way to get a job really is if you know somebody that's in that company currently. And I was able to also hone in my skills with the low haul. I worked with that several times during my internship, and believe I have become better at it since working in Dr. Garner's class with that program. I learned more about the hazards analysis. I did a lot with that with the company Alaris. They were up in Indiana, and we would go around their facilities analyzing all the hazards and also looking for things that they wouldn't look for on a normal basis. Found several things that were key issues that they needed to fix. Showed them, and we were there for, I believe we went there for 2 weeks, and just made sure the second time we went that they fixed those issues and provide them with our analysis so that in the future they would know what to look for, not look for the everyday stuff that they do, and I believe it's going to help them out in the future. I was also able to learn more data management skills. I worked with our IT guy, and he provided me with just a lot of information on his side of how to protect data, how to protect the network, which is something that you do need a little bit of knowledge on in emergency management, because whenever a disaster happens, you're dealing with people's personal information, most likely in any situation, and you want to make sure that information stays safe, that you don't lose it, because the last thing we would want is a family who they provide your information so that you can help them. Something happens and you lose it, well then that family goes without help. That's something that you never want to happen in a disaster. And with this company, it was something where their information can't get into the wrong hands, because the company can get fined for releasing certain information. Now, I do believe it helped me with my management skills, helped me with my networking skills, and it's really going to help me jumpstart into my future career, because I'm wanting to get into a facility as a risk manager, and I believe that meeting everybody, being around that during the semester is really going to help me. Now, the question, are you more or less critical of some of the ideas presented in your previous coursework in emergency management? I not really know how to answer that. I guess less critical. Learned a lot of valuable information during all the classes I took in the emergency management program, and I think that you can learn stuff all day about it. You can learn about disasters and just anything you can learn, but until you actually put that into practice, and see it firsthand basis, and you're working with the people during a disaster, then it's hard to really understand exactly what to do during a disaster. Um, talked about the Dr. Garner's class, hazardous environments. You can work with Aloha all day, Marplot all day, and plan for these disasters and mitigate the situation, try to prepare for it. But unless you never face that disaster, you're never going to know if your plan works, or if a plan will ever work for a disaster. And I think that's something that I really caught on here is you can plan for something to go right all day. And that's with this company. It seemed like nothing ever went right. Something happened with the client that we were working for, or the EPA. Something always happened, and something would always get pushed back. And that's something you gotta learn in a disaster is nothing's ever gonna be how you think it's gonna be. You can plan all day for something, but 99% of the time, it's not gonna happen that way. Uh, just really enjoyed my internship. I think it provided me with great knowledge into the area that I'm wanting to go into, risk management at facilities. Was able to tour a lot of facilities, meet lots of people, and I think overall this internship is going to help me in my future career, and I'm glad I was able to finish school out with this experience.